Hello, my Soma friends. I hope that you're all feeling amazing today. For this practice, we are going to bring things back to the basics because it's really important that we have those basics and we practice those so that we can really come into the Soma. And so the Soma, as a reminder, is or means of the living body because in life we have a lot of external distractions that pull us away from listening to the internal body. So during this practice, you might notice that your mind is going to wander, and that's completely okay. What we want to do is gently coax it back to the present moment and to focusing on the internal body. But don't be surprised if your mind tends to wander, and that's completely natural and normal and okay. We just want to try to lovingly bring it back to focusing on our body and what it's telling us. So for this practice, you may want to have a few pillows. So you can pause and grab those if you need them. The pillows are useful for either under the head or the neck, under the knees, or perhaps between the knees. We're going to do some really basic movements today. They're going to be very small, mindful movements. You may also want to have a blanket close by in case your body temperature lowers. That's quite common for the body temperature to lower during a somatic practice. So the whole idea of somatics is to do some neuromuscular retraining of the body. We have certain postures and patterns that probably don't serve us very well, but they're learned by the body over time. Some of these neuromuscular positionings or postures can actually come from perhaps you have had a surgery, you've had an injury, maybe you work at a desk all day and your position or posture is sort of stuck in this position, which really jams up the shoulder joint. It constricts our breathing. So we want to allow the body to come back into a posture and position that it's meant to be in. And for everybody, that's a little bit different. We also know that emotional events and certain traumas can also create a protective posture by the body. So these are all things that our body does in order to help us maneuver through the day, and our body's meant to protect us. So during somatic movement, we can have sometimes a little bit of an emotional release. And if that does come up for you, just hold space for that without any judgment at all. It's not the first intention of somatic movement, but it absolutely can happen. It's a great way to release any tensions or stresses that you may have that are being held by the body. So we'll always start with a quick little somatic scan to see what the body's feeling at this moment. So pay attention to that. And I do invite you to close your eyes during the practice. However, if that does not feel comfortable for you, you may keep them open or open them at any time. With these movements, again, they're meant to be very small and mindful movements. It's not about getting great big movements. It's about paying attention to and listening to the body. But you can also, if there is a movement that does not feel comfortable for you, please make sure you're listening to your body. You can also do these by visualizing them in your mind. You don't even have to actually do the movement, but you can visualize them. I will also cue breath throughout this practice. However, I do encourage you to breathe in a way that your body's asking you to breathe. So just again, entering into this practice with zero judgment and allowing your body to do what it needs to do at this moment, because it will tell you. All right, so we're going to get in position to start our initial soma scan. So I will do this in lying on my back. So just get comfortable. You can place pillows underneath your knees if you wish. Just place your hands beside you wherever they feel comfortable. You can adjust the body a little bit. If it does not feel good for you to have your legs lengthened, you can slide your feet up the mat and have the knees bent. We're just going to spend a few moments here allowing our body to sense the mat. We want that sensory feedback from the mat. Or perhaps you're lying on your bed or wherever you are. Just making sure that you're always within comfort and always honoring the soma. And we're just going to start with a few deep breaths. So I'm going to place one hand on my belly and one hand on my chest. As long as that is within comfort for you, you may also keep your hands by your sides. We're going to focus on taking a breath and filling the belly first with air before the chest. So taking a nice deep inhale through the nose or the mouth. And then exhaling fully, letting everything release. And again, when you're ready, inhaling either through the nose or the mouth, filling the belly with air. And then again, exhaling fully. And then once more, filling the belly with air on the inhale and the chest at the last. And this time, exhale and release anything that you don't need to hold on to today. And you can go ahead and release those arms down beside you again. I'm just going to take a few moments here. Allow the body to settle in. Continuing with those nice deep breaths. And starting our scan with the top of the head. Moving down through the face. And just noticing through the forehead, through the jaw, softening the jaw. Noting any areas of the body where we may be holding on to tension. Moving around through the back of the head. How does your head feel on the mat today? Does it feel light or heavy? Is it rolled to one side more versus the other? And again, whatever position your body is in at this moment is completely okay. Moving down through the neck, into the shoulders, and just sensing where those shoulders are placed, in through the front of the shoulders. Are they lying rolled open or perhaps rolled forward? Moving around to the back of the shoulders into the shoulder blades. How do your shoulder blades feel on the mat today? Are you sensing one more so than the other? Is one higher or lifted up more than the other? Moving down through the arms, the elbows, the forearms, the wrists, the hands, and the fingers. Just wiggle those fingers a little bit, noting any sensations that you may be feeling, and just noting the positioning of the hands at this moment. Are the palms flipped down towards the mat? Are they turned up towards the ceiling? Or perhaps facing your thighs? Moving back up to the upper back and the mid back, around to the front of the chest and down into the rib cage and the belly. Taking a nice deep inhale and exhaling. Just noting if we're carrying any tension in the belly area. Moving around to the lower back and just sensing where our low back is positioned on the mat. Is it lying flat, or maybe it's elevated off of the mat? Moving down to the hips and around to the pelvis, and just sensing where our hips are in this moment. Is one side of the hips perhaps longer or lower than the other? Is it lifted up off of the mat or lying flat? Then traveling down through the front of the thighs and into the back of the legs, down into the knees, noting whether the knees are up towards the ceiling or rolled off to the side perhaps. Moving down through the shins and the back of the calves, down into the ankles, the feet, and the toes. And you can wiggle those toes a little bit if you like. Just again noting any sensations that you may have in that area. And we're going to take another deep breath. And then exhale, releasing everything, allowing the muscles to melt into the mat. I'm going to invite you to slide your feet up the mat one at a time, bending at the knees, feet flat on the floor. And again, just readjusting if you need to comfort. We're going to start today with a little tilt and flatten movement. And the arms can be beside you wherever they're comfortable. So with our tilt movement, and again, these movements are meant to be very small, very mindful. It's all about paying attention to the body. We're going to start with an inhale, and as you inhale, we're going to create a small arch in the lower back, tipping the pelvis forward. Belly rises slightly towards the ceiling. You can press those shoulder blades down into the mat slightly. And on the exhale, we're just going to allow those muscles to melt back down towards the mat into neutral position. And when you reach neutral, you can rest. And again, we'll try that one another time. So inhaling, as we inhale, we're going to create that small little arch in the lower back, tipping the pelvis forward. Belly rises towards the ceiling. You can press those shoulder blades down into the mat slightly. And then exhaling, allowing those muscles to float back down towards the mat. And allowing them to come back to neutral. When you reach neutral, you can rest. For our flatten movement, we're going to do the opposite. So we're going to inhale first. And on the exhale, we're going to press the lower back into the mat, contracting the front of the belly. Bringing awareness to the front of the body. And then slowly and smoothly allow those muscles to return back to neutral. We're also watching for any sensory motor amnesia that may be happening. And sensory motor amnesia is basically what it sounds like. The muscles have forgotten how to fully contract and relax. So you may feel a little bit of glitchiness. You may feel some hesitation in the muscles. And those are areas we want to spend a little extra time on and smooth out that movement. So let's try that one again, taking a nice deep inhale. And as we exhale, we're going to press the lower back into the mat, contracting the muscles in the front of the body, through the belly, bringing awareness to the front of the body. We're going to slowly and smoothly allow those muscles to return to neutral. And when you reach neutral, you can rest. And then we're going to combine those two movements. So we'll start with our tilt. So on the inhale, we're going to arch slightly through the lower back, tipping the pelvis, belly rises towards the ceiling, and you can press those shoulder blades down into the mat slightly, bringing awareness to the back of the body, and then slowly allowing those muscles to melt back to neutral on the exhale. We're going to move through neutral with another inhale. And as you exhale, we're going to press the lower back into the mat, very gently contracting the front of the body, bringing awareness to the front of the body. We're going to allow those muscles to slowly and smoothly return back to neutral. And when you reach neutral, you can rest. And we'll try that combination once more. So inhaling, tipping the pelvis forward, allowing the lower back to arch slightly off of the mat, pressing those shoulder blades into the mat, bringing awareness to the back of the body, and then very slowly and smoothly allowing those muscles to return back to neutral. And then we move through neutral with another inhale. And as you exhale, pressing the lower back into the mat, contracting the front of the body, bringing awareness to the front of the body, and then very slowly and smoothly allowing those muscles to return to neutral. And when you reach neutral, you can rest. So we're going to switch our movement here a little bit, and we're going to do a few little twists. So you can bring those arms out into a T position if that feels comfortable for you, or you may keep them down by your sides. And this is where you might want to place a pillow on either side of the body just for extra support. So whenever you're ready, on your inhale, we're going to allow those knees to roll over to one side, very gently and smoothly. And on the exhale, we're going to draw those knees back up towards the midline, back to neutral. And then again, inhaling, we're going to roll them over to the opposite side this time, just to wherever it feels comfortable for you. And then exhaling, drawing those knees back up towards the center, back to neutral. And again, inhaling, rolling them over again. And this is where you can start to roll your head as well. Your head will roll away from the knees. And then drawing them back up to center as the head comes back up to center as well. And then continue through neutral over to the other side. And again, you could roll the head away from the knees. And I'm actually going to roll that palm up towards the ceiling that my head is looking towards. The opposite palm is flipped towards the floor. And then we're going to reverse that. We're going to draw the knees back up towards the ceiling, roll the head to neutral, and then flipping the palms, we're going to roll again over to the opposite side. The head rolls away from the knees. The palm flips up the same direction as the head is looking towards. And then we're going to continue that rotation just a few more times. And I want you to just feel this one out. Really encouraging you and inviting you to allow this movement to be as big or small as you want it to be. This is where you can really get into those hips and allow the hips to roll open into the lower back, into the shoulder even, allowing the torso to open up as well. Just continuing at your own pace, taking those nice deep breaths, inhaling And then exhaling. Maybe try a couple more times on each side. Just making this movement feel as delicious and amazing as you want it to be. And when you're feeling ready, you can bring those knees back to neutral. And when you reach neutral, you can rest. Taking a nice deep inhale. And exhale, letting everything go. Releasing those arms down for a moment beside you. We're going to come back to a similar movement that we had done in the very beginning. So we did the tilt and flatten movement, and this time we're going to do an arch and a curl movement. So very similar. And for this one, I'm going to invite you to bring your hands up and behind your head, but if that's not comfortable, you can leave them down beside. So the hands are just going to cradle the back of the head. This allows us to open up through the chest and the shoulders a little bit more as well. So again, just coming to a space of comfort. On our inhale, we're going to create that little arch through the lower back, pelvis tipping forward, belly rises towards the ceiling, and then squeezing those shoulder blades towards each other and down towards your back pockets. On the exhale, we allow everything to melt back to neutral position, and really watching for those sensory motor amnesias on this one. We're going to move through neutral. We're going to take another deep inhale. And as you exhale, we're going to press the low back into the mat and then bring the elbows up towards each other. And at the same time, we're going to curl up towards the knees, lifting the head, neck, and shoulders. Just very small movements. This does not have to be big. Bringing awareness to the front of the body, and then very slowly and smoothly allowing all of those muscles to melt back to neutral. And when your head reaches the mat, we can open those elbows out to the side again, very slowly. And when you reach neutral, you can rest. And we'll try that one again. So taking a nice deep inhale, arching through that lower back, belly rises towards the ceiling, and then you can draw those shoulder blades in towards each other and down towards the back pockets. And as you exhale, allow those muscles to slowly and smoothly return to neutral. Moving through neutral with another inhale. As we exhale, we're going to press the lower back into the mat, contracting through the front of the body, bringing the elbows closer together, and then slowly lifting the head, neck, and shoulders if that feels comfortable for you, bringing the elbows closer towards the knees, bringing awareness to the front of the body, and then slowly and smoothly allowing those muscles to return back to neutral. And when your head reaches the mat, you can slowly open through those elbows out to the side and resting when you reach neutral. And we'll try that once more. So inhaling, creating that small arch through the lower back, lifting the belly towards the ceiling, squeezing those shoulder blades together and down towards the back pockets. And then exhaling, allowing those muscles to melt back to neutral very slowly When you reach neutral, you can take another inhale, moving through neutral, and then press the lower back into the mat gently, contracting the front of the body, bringing the elbows closer together, and then lifting the head, neck, and shoulders up towards the knees, bringing awareness to the front of the body, and then slowly, smoothly allowing those muscles to return back to neutral. And when your head reaches the mat, slowly allow those elbows to open to the side, sensing any of those sensory motor amnesias. And when you reach neutral, you can rest. You can release those hands and arms just down beside you again, taking a nice deep inhale. And exhaling. We're going to slide those feet out long if that feels okay. If not, just keep them bent. And again, let's take another deep inhale through the nose or the mouth. And on this exhale, I want you to just let everything go, fully exhaling. And then continue those breaths at your own pace. We're going to finish with another scan through the body. So this time we're going to actually start at the toes. And just give those toes a little wiggle. Just sensing where they are at this moment in comparison to when you started the practice. Noticing how they're feeling. Moving up through the feet into the ankles. Moving up through the shins and through the back of the legs and the calf muscles. Moving into the knees and just noticing where your knees are at this moment, whether they are pointed upward towards the ceiling or if they're rolled out towards the side, or if that has changed since starting the practice. And moving up through the front of the thighs into the back of the thighs, into the hips. And just noticing where our hips are placed in this moment. Through the lower back, is your lower back lying more flat in this moment versus the beginning of the practice? Just sensing in through the pelvis, through the belly, through the rib cage. How does your breath feel at this moment? Does it feel lighter? Does it feel easier? Moving up through the rib cage into the chest and around through the lower back and into the mid back, coming up through the shoulder blades and just sensing where your shoulders are in this moment. Are they lying flatter on the mat? Do you feel more openness through the front of the shoulders? And moving down through the arms into the hands and the fingers. And again, just wiggling those fingers, sensing the mat. Coming back up to the neck area, noticing any tensions, or perhaps we feel more free in the neck area. You can feel free to roll the head from side to side just very gently. And again, focusing in on that breath. Just continue to roll the head slowly, just from one side and then over to the other. And then when you're ready, just bringing that back to neutral. Taking a nice deep inhale and exhaling. moving up through the face, through the jaw, through the forehead, and moving around to the back of the head, just noting how the head feels now against the mat. Does it feel lighter? Moving to the top of the head, and taking a nice deep inhale through the nose, and then allowing yourself to fully exhale and let go of anything that you do not need to hold on to at this moment. And then I'm going to invite you to slide those heels up the mat again, bending at the knees one at a time. And then very gently, whenever you're ready, rolling onto the side. And just staying here for a moment. You can slowly open your eyes if they're not open already. Just spend a moment here, take a few nice deep breaths. And you can stay here for as long as you need. When you're ready, you can slowly press yourself up to seated. Allowing yourself to come back to the external worlds. Still staying within the soma to a certain extent. Just finding a comfortable position. Just noting how your posture and how your body feels in this moment in comparison to when we first started the practice. Taking a nice deep inhale. And then we exhale everything that we do not need to hold on to. Amazing, my friends. I hope that this felt really good for you and you were able to connect within into the soma. Let me know how this felt for you in the comments. And I will see you all next time. Have an amazing day today or this evening, wherever you may be.